I'm going to look for my buttons here because I came away from it and oh, there it is. All right, here we go. When these dads meet world, watching Boy Meets World. We grew up on the show, now we have kids and host a podcast. We watch each episode and then share our thoughts and grades. When these dads meet world.
They want you to take the roles.
Good evening. Dads Meet World is here, and we do want you to take the roles. And I say evening because we record in the evening, but you might be listening in the morning. So happy workout day. We're here with dad number 1. That's me this week, Brett. And joining me on the mic is dad number 2.
As always, Tyler.
And this week, as we go through, like we always do, an episode at a time, that seminal 1990s sitcom, episode by episode, that helped form and shape us as we look back at his dads, we have a special guest on the mic who's been here, friend of the podcast. Chance, welcome back.
Hello. I'm happy to be back.
And we're happy to have you. Chance, how's it been since the last time we had you on?
It's good. As we're recording this, we're right in that kind of sweet spot between Christmas and New Year's. And my wife and I have done like nothing today, which is great.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I took vacation from a couple of days before Christmas, and I don't go back until the 2nd of January, so it's been very relaxing for myself.
It's been kind of crazy, but yesterday and today were both very relaxing, and I also go back the 2nd. So
nice. Yeah, Tyler,
my
how's
son's
life
birthday
been?
is the 2nd though, so that's
Congratulations! Yes. How old is he now?
he's going to be 8.
Wow.
8. Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a busy week with New Year's and him and his parties on the 4th. So.
Oh yeah.
Wait, did you say what the date was?
His birthday's the 2nd.
Oh.
And then we're
My
having
son's
his party
birthday's
on
the
4th.
3rd.
Huh?
I said my son's birthday's the 3rd.
Oh, nice. How old's he going to be?
He will be 2.
Oh.
A little different.
A little bit. We spread ours out. We don't have a birthday to celebrate until March. We're safe.
It is by choice, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
You picked them all.
Oh yes, we decided we wrote them down in a book. We said not until no. It's just that's just how it works out.
Yeah.
No, actually, that's the one that was a surprise.
The March one.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's the one where we came back from a mission trip, and we had 2 kids at that point, and the second one was 5. I went. Shared with the church what was going on. I came home. I collapsed in the bed because we got back after midnight on a Sunday morning. Shared a report. Came home, crashed on the bed for a couple hours. Woke up. And my wife sits down beside me, and she's got this look on her face. I know something's going on. She's like, and at this point, she'd been joking about wanting another kid, and we'd been kind of a little bit resistant to the idea. And she's got this look on her face. I'm like, "You're pregnant, aren't you?" She's like, yeah. So yeah, there's a 5 gap between the 2 youngest ones. But we're not here to talk about kids.
Nope.
We're here to talk about teenagers.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Starry Night. Good looking people. You tuned in to hear us talk about the 20th episode of Boy Meets World Season 5, Starry Night, wherein a once-in-a-lifetime Van Gogh retrospective, which Cory stood in line for all night to get tickets for himself and Topanga when they were still dating, to go see, has finally come to town, but she's gone with Angel instead and met a terrific, intelligent, and sensitive guy who claims she's already changed his life once. They share culture, a dinner date, and a kiss, and Topanga's left with a choice to make, Ricky or Cory. This episode was written by Barry Safchick or Daniel Page, depending on which source you look at. Daniel Page was a staff writer throughout season 5, through most of the season. If you go with Safchick, this is the first of 4 episodes. He also wrote In Case I Don't See You, Can I Help to Cheer You, and The Honeymoon's Over. And Daniel Page, like I said, he's a staff writer from A Very Topanga Christmas till the end of season 5. Directed by Jeff McCracken, originally aired April 3rd, 1998, a 2-week break from our previous episode. And currently she has an 8.1, that's 0.2 higher, IMDb rating, and is tied for 7th place on the season with Boy Meets Real World and Raging Cory in the IMDb ratings. So, and I mentioned last week, the IMDb ratings are actually fluctuating a little bit still nearly 30 years later, because when I first sat down to mark out what the ratings are in relation to each other in this season, this was actually a 7.9 when I sat down to do them. And it's actually moved up 0.2. So, yeah, go figure. Now, our previous episode, Eric Hollywood pulled in a 12.88 in the Nielsen ratings. Tyler and Chance, what do you guys think this episode pulled in? You know, the episode where, spoiler alert, Cory and Topanga get back together.
I guess I'll go first. I will guess probably stick with 12 because that's what I guessed yesterday, and I was right.
14. I
14.
still don't really understand how Nielsen ratings work.
14 and 12. Well, yeah, both would have lost the showcase, but Tyler would have been a little bit closer. 11.8.
Oh,
Yes.
it was less.
Yes, less people tuned in. Yes. And just a reminder for all our good-looking people at home, Nielsen, they measured just how many million homes tuned in. Not everyone was a Nielsen family. There was a special way to get in. I never figured out how it was, but there's this little box you had on top of your TV that would tell the Nielsen people that how long you were tuned in to which program, so that they could figure out which TV shows were worth keeping around and which TV shows were worth investing advertising dollars into. So, now before we get into our episode today, whenever you're listening to, I'm going to try and remember this week instead of
Now!
day. Now. Yes. Before we get into this week's episode, Chance, we briefly talked off mic about this idea about these episodes during Cory and Topanga's breakup, reflecting the stages of grief. So, can you set the table for us about this idea?
Sure. Yeah. So this is a thing that, for those of you who don't know, I was did a Boy Meets World podcast as well, Boy Meets World Fever. It's finished, so you don't need to go listen to it. Listen to these guys; they're more hip and with it.
But is it finished yet, Chance? Because I have not seen a certain episode I've been waiting for, and I have not seen it yet. So there's my beef, man. Where's the episode?
Well, there's actually 3, and actually work does get done on them probably a little bit every week, but we've set a high bar for ourselves.
That's good. Go ahead. I'm
One of
sorry.
these days, we're just going to do it. But yes, so we noticed a weird thing that I'm sure you guys have brought up. Why are all of these episodes about Shawn?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just a very strange. All the episodes since the breakup have been like largely about the breakup, but it starts with like the first girlfriends club, and then we do get one episode about Cory. In the I know you guys have all gone over this, but I need to do it for me. The Lauren comes to visit him in Philadelphia episode. That one is mostly about Cory, but then quickly we get in. Then there was Shawn. The drinking episode, which starts out about both of them, but then like kind of breaks into a mostly Shawn focused. episode, and then Eric Hollywood, which Cory is not even in.
Mm-hmm.
Just absent from that one. And then we started noticing another trend that the only thing that doesn't work as well with this is the episode where Shawn not Shawn, the kind of mixture of the First Girlfriends Club and I can't remember what the episode title of Lauren visiting is, but denial is the first stage of grief, and Shawn is kind of in denial in these episodes, kind of not.
Mm-hmm.
That one's a little iffy. It actually kind of seems like sometimes he's in denial and sometimes he's not, because they're so inconsistent. I remember in First Girlfriends Club, like it's really Cory who's in denial, and Shawn's like trying to get him to confront it. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong because you've seen it more recently. But then and then there was Shawn, where Shawn literally not knowing what to do about this breakup kills everybody. Clearly anger. And then there's that scene in the drinking episode where he's like, I'm drinking for you. So you're not as sad. So you have something to focus on. Just like clearly bargaining. And then the Eric Hollywood episode is very much like you realize that he's holding a facade that's holding like a great amount of depression. Like he's very sad about like not having his relationship with Topanga. And in this episode that we just watched, he finally like accepts the final stage of grief. He like accepts that they're done, and tells that to Cory. So we kind of came up with this idea that like really these episodes mirror the 5 stages of grief, but not for Cory or Topanga, for Shawn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the 5 stages they're messy. They're not necessarily linear, and honestly, they're cyclical. And we've talked at length about the emotional trauma that Shawn has gone throughout the process, and especially and then there was Shawn. We spoke a lot about how Shawn is dealing with this trauma that he needs to process in a healthy way. And honestly, Shawn could benefit a lot from some therapy that unfortunately 30 years ago was not it was not as accepted as it is today.
Yes. I would pay money for someone to reboot this show, but the only premise is, what would this show look like if everyone was in therapy?
I would watch that show. I would watch that show. Place it in the counselor's office from the perspective of the counselor, just listening to them share their stories.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, they're all in a psych ward and Feeney is their doctor.
Yeah, that.
Stop letting me realize things.
Boy Meets World meets Community.
Oh my.
All right.
Okay,
so
I'd love to see Dan Harmon take a shot at this little universe.
So anyway, well, let's dive into the episode. We're going to start with Shawn and Cory at the same park where Cory and his date went on his date with Lauren. I don't know if they're supposed to be at the same park, but it is the same location.
Yeah.
Brett, Philadelphia is a small place. There's only 1 or 2 parks in Philadelphia.
It is a small town. You can drive through it in a couple of minutes.
They got all those bells everywhere. They don't have room for parks.
Yeah. Chase, were you Team Topanga or Team Lauren?
Like growing up?
Yeah, growing up.
Well, I mean, growing up, obviously, I was Team Topanga. I actually, I don't even know if I talked about this on our podcast, but I remember this night. Like, I remember, this is one of the few episodes watching, because I was pretty young. I was like 10-ish at this time, but I remember watching this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being very swept away in it, which is kind of the opposite that I get now, but we'll probably get to that later.
Mm-hmm. So, fun fact, you just unlocked a memory for me because I also remember this. The first episode I firmly remember remembering was, and then there was Shawn. But I do have this small memory of turning to my parents, being like, "Are they back together?" And then being like, "I guess so."
Yeah, I was at my grandparents' house, and I remember getting swept up in the emotion of it. You know, it's not a poorly written episode. You know, it's decently written if you get into if you're in the right zone for it. But we'll
Yeah,
get into that.
and maybe if you've never seen Boy Meets World before.
Yeah. So you're Topanga, you know, if you meld their names together. So Cory is obsessed with the monkey bars. Those are not monkey bars. That's a jungle gym. I have to
Exactly.
say that. My sister broke her arms on monkey bars. That's jungle gym.
Yes.
And
I agree.
yeah, Shawn has heard this story so many times he can mimic it behind Cory's back. Topanga will do the same thing, but she is self-aware enough that she knows when Angela's doing it to her. And Cory freaks out a little girl by calling her Topanga. That was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Cory needs therapy. And
Cory has needed therapy.
Yes.
And we get this whole Silas Matthews and Ebenezer Hunter joke as we transition to Angela and Topanga at the museum. Because you know, I already mentioned it in our intro that there's this whole Van Gogh I can never pronounce his name correctly exhibit. Are you a fan of Van Gogh, either one of you?
I am.
Mm-hmm.
As much of any art I could be a fan of, sure.
I've been to the MoMA where Starry Night is like kept.
Nice.
It's a much less transcendent experience than you think it'll be. It's an amazing painting, but it is very small.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this whole like them seeing a poster size of it is not real at all. And it really like there's this when you come onto the floor, there's like this pillar, and it's to usher you one of two ways to like go around the wall, if that makes any sense. If you've been to like an art museum, um, and you go in, and then if you turn and you look at that pillar, that's where Starry Night is, and it's very small. It's an incredible painting, and the whole Van Gogh floor. We actually have a fairly large collection of original Van Goghs here in Oklahoma as well.
Wow.
At the museum on the University of Oklahoma's campus. So I've just gotten to see a lot of Van Gogh, and I do really, really enjoy it. Lily Pads is probably my favorite, and it is huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like lily pads.
So I mean, yeah, sure, I'm a fan.
I would say Starry Night is probably my favorite. I have I have a poster of Starry Night in the other room, right on the other side of this wall in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's it's my favorite Van Gogh, and it's the reason I have this poster. Back in college, there were 9 of us that were going to move into a house on campus, as close as you could get to Greek life on our campus as you could without actually having a Greek house, because our campus didn't do Greek life. And we decided we wanted to be cultured. You know, we wanted the girls to think we were a cultured house. So I bought a Van Gogh poster to frame it and hang it in one of our lounge areas.
I love it.
And so I still have it now to this day. This was 22 years ago, and it's still hanging up in my house today.
Because you're cultured.
I am cultured, yes. I'm cultured, dagnabbit. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I got into going to art museums as a great place to take dates, and just kind of started enjoying it.
Hey, however you get yourself there, you go for it.
Yeah,
I encourage it.
I've still never grown to understand sculpture, but I can appreciate most other art.
So you wouldn't have interpreted Two Monkeys the way Eric
No,
did?
no. Oh, that episode is so poignant to this one. I'm sure we will get there.
Oh yeah. So we'll check back in with Topanga and Angela, and this this tall glass of Studley water is making eyes at Topanga from across the way. And this heartthrob comes up. And by the way, the heartthrob is Ricky Ferris, played by Jonathan Jackson. First and only time we'll see him on Boy Meets World. Only 27 acting credits, including. I was surprised it was only 27 because I was really familiar with his work, having not watched his most popular work. Camp Nowhere, Tuck Everlasting, The Twilight Zone, Venom, Terminator, The Sarah Connor Chronicles, and his 124 episodes of Nashville, and his most popular is 419 episodes of General Hospital, among
Okay.
others. Yeah, never watched him on General Hospital. Probably saw him on it because my mom would always have the soap operas on during the day, and I was homeschooled, so I'd walk in the room and I probably saw him on it, but
Bill Daniels wasn't General Hospital, right? He was St. Elsewhere.
I think so.
St. Elsewhere, yep.
Okay, I was just making sure. I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
wonder if he knew Bill Daniels. I was like, no, that's probably not true.
Yeah, so Ricky comes over and he's got this connection to Topanga, and Angela is so stricken by him she forgets her own name. And but yeah, they've got a connection from back in Little League, where apparently when Topanga was in her hippie phase, she played Little League and beamed him with a ball on the tuchus and taught him that he was not an athlete.
Hey, she was in the father-son baseball
Yep,
game.
the Father Sunday
So,
baseball.
There you go.
Chance, have you heard our theory of who these two characters should have been, of Lauren and Ricky?
No, I haven't.
So I don't know how much Brett is in this camp, but I'm fully in the camp of Ricky should actually be Minkus,
Well, sure.
to actually have someone from her past of now being maybe a little more suave and a little more able to show off his mind and all that jazz without making it sound like he's better than everyone.
Mhm.
And then the other person, I'm a firm believer that Lauren should have been TK.
Yeah, but then I would only ever be Team TK. So
Yes, that's the dilemma of Cory seeing someone in a different light, in a different way, and you know, making it more than just a one random girl he ends up talking with. Because why did Cory randomly talk to one girl all night?
yeah, yeah. I support giving these characters history. I think what they're trying to do is like someone will come out of nowhere and just surprise you. But like, come on.
Yeah.
I do want to ask before we go any further, like on like a temperature scale, where are you guys at with these episodes? Because like with the exception of and then there was Shawn, I'm kind of pretty low.
We've been Tyler is definitely consistently high.
Yep.
I'm a little lower than him, but we've largely been higher. Season 5's been higher for us than
Okay.
a lot of them.
Well, season 4, we were kind of like up and down, up and down. Like we'd have an
Sure.
episode where we're like, we love this episode, and the next episode, like, this is garbage.
Right.
So we had a lot
Yeah,
of up and downs.
the first half of season 4, I graphed them out. And the first half of season 4 was like watching an EKG, and then
Okay.
it finished the last, I don't know, 6 episodes or so were all pretty strong for us.
Mhm.
Season 5 has largely been A's and B's for the most part for us on a
Okay.
rating scale.
Even these 4 or 5 like post Lauren episodes.
So I'm a big fan of the journey they're going on.
Okay.
And it's probably because in the context of I know where it's going. And I will allow my gradings to be on the emotional side. I won't lie.
That's
Um,
fine.
but one of the things that I've noticed through going through when they got back together through this point of their communication sucks.
It's terrible.
Right. So I'm like, oh, it wasn't a perfect relationship even when they got back together and at the end of season 3. Like they have a bad tendency to not communicate well, which is why next week's episode I think is super important to them actually being back together, not just saying how they feel about each other. Um, so yeah, I tend to lean on this is a very important step in their growth as a couple and as a growth of them as people. So for that reason, I tend to look at this more favorably, and also I've been giving more grace to them because they are portraying teenagers. They are in that teenager realm. So is their acting perfect? No. Is some of the lines they are forced to give perfect? Absolutely not. We will eviscerate them when they deserve it, and several times so far in this, they have very much deserved it. And I think we tend to yell more at Michael Jacobs than we do any of the actors or
Yeah, we
even
do.
the writers. So
I mean, that's fair. It is ultimately his vision.
Yeah, it's difficult to grade harshly sometimes because a lot of my grading comes from the story that's being told and how it's executed. And if the story is crap, then it's difficult to execute it well.
Okay.
And so it's hard to grade the execution harshly if the story is not there to begin with. So it's a lot of the story has been exploring adolescent angst, and I've worked with teenagers a lot, and so looking at it through those lenses and having 2 teenagers myself gives a different perspective for me.
Oh, for sure.
I have a teenager who's been through a couple of breakups already, and so that gives a different lens to it for me to be able to see that. Now, granted, he's not broken up with girls he met in the sandbox, but he's dealt with some heartbreak.
I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's like if Cobra Kai didn't have fighting. That's what this show is, really.
Get with Cobra Kai.
Okay.
Hey,
Tyler
February
is constantly
13th.
trying to get Cobra Kai. I
Brett,
have not been able to watch Cobra Kai yet, and Tyler's
you got a
constantly
month and a
trying to get
half.
me on the train.
You got a
I've
month
only
and a
seen the
half,
first
Brett.
season. It was fun.
It's not because I don't want to. I just haven't had time.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, back to the show that we're here to review. Ricky wants to walk around, look at the paintings, look at the exhibit. Angela pushes Topanga to do it. And so we get over to Starry Night, and I only have 3 clips of this episode. And the first one is Ricky's impression of Starry Night.
I think this is the most spiritual piece ever painted.
Look at the way he painted the stars.
See how they protect the small town? It's like these swirling divine lights from God that say, I will always protect you.
Well, it says here that Van Gogh found religion around the time he painted this.
Yeah, he found his soul, and he put it on this canvas. That's what's moving you. Someone is able to let you see right into his soul. I'm sorry. I guess I could talk about this painting all day.
You have been.
Yes, so clearly that is not the real Van Gogh that we're looking at on screen, right, Chance?
No, it is not.
Yeah, Ricky's got the soul of a poet, wouldn't you say?
No, I would not.
But we're supposed to think that.
He read the IMDb, Brett.
I was about to say he's read a Wikipedia article with that, which is impressive.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
They aren't a thing yet, but
Yeah. Yeah, it's very much teenage poetry type of thing there. Yeah.
Kind of feels like when Shawn's at his college class and he keeps just try to get through, and the teacher keeps giving him more credit to all of his answers.
It is a lot like that, actually.
Yeah, but it's enough to make Topanga. It's enough to engage Topanga. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Man, Ricky rubs me the wrong way immediately. I kind of think he's maybe supposed to, but like, he's like, "Oh, Angela, I'm going to ignore every word you say, even your introduction." Girls, if a guy ignores your friend entirely just to talk to you, that's not sweet. He's not smitten with you.
Mhm.
He's a dirtbag, and you should throw him away.
Not bad advice at
Um,
all.
and then he's mansplaining this painting to her. I, I, I love the point when she's like, it says here that he found religion right when he painted this. And he's like, oh, I already knew that. It's like he found his soul. I know better than you.
Okay, here's my thing though.
Yeah,
If this
I'm
is
here
the
for it.
Vincent Van Gogh like temporary uh display, it feels like it's just kind of in the middle of the room and not like in like the very specific like this is the Starry Night like area of, and there'd be like a line to get to see that
Actually,
painting
no,
if it's the real
that's
one.
actually pretty. That's actually pretty spot on. Like
Is it?
legitimately in the MoMA in New York. Like I said, you just turn around and it's on the back of this pillar, and it's definitely the centerpiece of the room. And there's definitely always a crowd around it, but it's like a half circle crowd because it's like on a pillar, so it's pretty open on both sides. So there's this half circle, and all it is like a red line in the on the ground that says like don't step past this, and it's just there. And then there's like these benches in the middle because it's like a long narrow room.
Mm-hmm.
And there's these benches in the middle, and you can like sit there and wait for a spot to open up, or you can wait to get around it. But it really is just a half circle hanging in a room, and there's no like, hey, Starry Night's going to be here. You just kind of turn around and it's there.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
it's not as shocking as you might think if you go to the MoMA in New York. I sound so
I,
cultured. I've been there one time.
I mostly go to children's museums.
I love a good science museum.
Yeah, I think I like to go to a good museum. The Andy Warhol Museum at Pittsburgh is a lot of fun.
I love Andy Warhol. It's actually probably my favorite art collection.
Mm. So Topanga and Ricky have spent the whole day together without talking, without realizing it. Wonder
Sitting
who
in a
else could have done
tree.
that.
What do you guys think they talked about before this? I just want to know.
I'd say they definitely talked about their childhood, beating him with the ball. They probably talked a little bit about each other. Who are you? What do you like? What have you done since we saw each other in Little League?
Okay.
I think you're giving a lot more credit than is actually there.
Hey, I'm trying to give Ricky a little bit of credit here, I mean, we're going to bag on him. I'm trying to give him a little bit of credit.
I figured it'd be more like so this is what I've been up to. Oh, you're here too. What have you done?
Well, see, we know it. We know what he's going to talk about at the date. So I'm trying to give him a little bit of credit here.
Yeah. I was just like, they probably just had the same conversation about Starry Night like 1,000 times. Like,
This painting, it's like I'm looking into his soul.
It says here that Van Gogh cut his ear off.
If we're supposed to believe they have stood in front of this specific painting and talked all day, I just can't imagine.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know how you just stand in one spot talking to someone for hours?
Well, see, I always interpreted that to be the security guard just kind of came up at the end and just inserted himself there. I never interpreted that to be they stood in front of that painting and talked all day.
That's probably more realistic, but it's more fun to think of the video.
Oh, yeah, totally. So let's dive into Act 2. Ricky wants to go to a dinner date at this really swanky French bistro restaurant. I know bistro and restaurants is redundant, but oh well. He seems to be very smooth in his dinner date invite. We're going to be there. Okay, he assumes they're both going to be there. Okay, a little bit aggressive there. We'll both be sitting at the table. You'll be looking at your menu. If you look up, it's a date, and I'll be looking at you. Maybe 30 years ago, that was romantic, but yeah, it doesn't seem all that romantic now.
Brett, do you have any idea how many guys hit on her every day?
Yeah, no. That was a big reason that she gave Cory that she was not happy with him and then didn't elaborate on it.
Mhm.
But here she is getting hit on all day long by someone that she hasn't seen since Little League.
I cannot tell you guys how much the person who wrote this episode has never watched the show before.
Yeah.
We didn't really talk about it, but her rant to Angela about why they're broken up is the most wild thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Because she gives the exact opposite reasons to Angela of why they broke up as she gave to Cory not 4 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
She's like,
Yeah.
I forgive you for all of this and understand all of it. And now she's like, I don't get any of this. How could you?
Oh, she's
It's the magic of teenagers.
Well, see, this whole we were talking just 2 episodes ago. It's got this whole we were on a break vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I get whiplash sometimes going through it all. And even in this very, because Tyler and I were talking, Angela's got that whole, leave my girl's man alone thing. And
Mm-hmm.
now we it wasn't specific out of Topanga's mouth 2 episodes ago, but here it is. She's waiting for Cory. She's got to give him one more chance. I'm like, I'm getting whiplash here.
Yes.
Which, yes, is kind of natural for teenage relationships. I'll give it that. But still, I'm getting whiplash.
And I don't know. I think you can hide a lot behind like they're teenagers, but also like there's also like internal consistency. Like if she's gonna go off and like rant about like how could he do all that, one line from Angela like, hey, didn't you tell Cory not like a week ago that this stuff didn't bother you? It was the fact that he lied. You haven't even mentioned that he lied. Like,
Yeah.
or that he needed to see her. Sorry, not that he lied.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a real important question for us to talk about. Is Angela being a good friend this episode?
That is a good question.
That's a very good question, because does Topanga want to get back together with Cory, or does Topanga want to move on? That's the question, because Angela wants her to move on.
Is Angela being the funniest character in this episode? Absolutely.
Oh yeah, very much.
That's
so.
different.
I don't know. I honestly have no idea. I mean, I think everyone has been there. Maybe not everyone, but like your friend just had this big breakup, and you're just sick and tired of it, and you're like, oh, this guy's hot. Let's have him move. Let's have you move on with him, and then I don't have to hear about this anymore.
Yeah, fair.
So,
yeah.
I don't know if she's being a good friend, but I can kind of get it.
Well, I guess it's not too dissimilar when you're trying to pick what restaurant you're going to go to. You go, I really want this one over here. So the other person goes, no, I want this one. So maybe that's what we're dealing with right now.
Well, here's another question. Is it fair to take a 15-year relationship and boil it down to what do you see in this painting? And if you see something good enough, then we can be together.
Yes.
Well, here's another question, Brett. Is it really been 15 years?
In season 5 it is.
15 plus some breaks. You know, I had a girl who This was back in the days of MySpace, if anyone remembers those.
Oh yeah.
But I had a girl. There was a girl I knew who had dated this guy all through like grade school,
Hmm.
and then in college, this other girl started flirting with him, and I remember her sending her a scathing Facebook or not Facebook, MySpace message, writing on her wall saying like, "We've been together since we were 4." I'm like, no, I know you knew you throughout all of high school. You didn't. Like, you definitely dated like 4 guys, like that I know of in high school, and we weren't even that close. So that's kind of realistic, right? Like simplifying it.
It's fair. Interesting. Those type of situations always intrigue me. Like those people that get married after their high school sweetheart.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree.
But Brett, can you tell us a little bit more about Topanga and Cory's interaction at the Van Gogh?
Oh, of course. They have this really loud argument that no one's going to stop in the middle of an art museum. And Topanga is. Cory doesn't want to take a test for their relationship. He really doesn't. And Topanga is. She's insistent. She wants him to tell her what he sees in this painting. She really needs to see what he sees in this painting. She needs to hear it before she can decide any further. And so here we go with the second clip I've got.
I see an attack.
An attack.
An attack from another world.
An attack from another world. All right, let's look again. What about the relationship between God and man?
Oh, okay, I was about to get there. See, God, unhappy with how some particular humans treat other particular humans who love them, has decided it's the end of the world. And I think he's right.
God is protecting the people in this little town. They live their lives and they come out of their houses and they see the sky. And they know God's protection and love. And that everything will be all right.
So two things real quick.
Go
That's
ahead.
okay. The first one is the reaction to an attack. Do you want to explain a little bit more? That's a perfect. I'm not going to speak for any other marriages, but that's something that my wife would say to me. I'm sorry.
Let's try
Can you
again.
please explain a little bit more? But also, just one of the things I like about art, for me personally, is yes, an artist has a desired interpretation and what they're putting out there, but it's like anything else. Once you put it out there, it's for the public to look at and go, no, this is what I think they're saying. And it's not that out there to say that the painting says this is an attack. Like, I could see that. I'm pretty sure the first time I looked at it, I went, how come those orbs are coming down and they're going to explode everywhere? It reminded me of anime the first time I saw it. So, it's, I don't like whenever people go, no, you don't understand what the artist is trying to say. It's like, well, this is what I'm seeing. It's not the difference of when you see a picture and it says 1,000 things. Like, so does a painting from my vantage point.
Yeah. No, I think you're 100% right. I think the minute she says like, "No, God is protecting," it's like, "Oh, Topanga doesn't know what art is." Okay, great. Like, and I think we've all been there. Like, to your credit, as like saying like these are teenagers. I think like she read a pamphlet. This is what it said it was about, so it must be about that. But like, obviously, you have no greater understanding of what art is. Like. Because art is interpretation, and it like where your emotions meet the author's intent is like where meaning is formed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cory's first answer was definitely the most honest answer out of
Sure.
all three of these people.
Sure,
And
absolutely.
his second answer was clearly a pointed answer, even without looking at him as he's
Yeah.
doing it. And I have to say,
Yeah.
every time I watch it, that my eye is drawn to that guy in the background who's really clearly not looking at the art, and that was a bad job casting that extra. But
Yeah.
but yeah, Topanga's got
I
a very closed mind about her interpretation of this piece, and she needs, if
mhm.
she has just like Tyler and I talked about when she told Cory to go on a date with Lauren. It was and it wasn't a trap. She had a very clear idea of what she wanted to see happen.
Mhm.
And when it happened, she knew what her response was going to be.
Mhm.
She has a very clear idea here of what she wants to hear from Cory. And if she doesn't hear it, then okay, fine. I'm going to go on this date.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but as much as Cory and Topanga are kind of weird here, the dialogue that they wrote for him, how can you expect me to see good in anything when I feel so bad in here, gesturing in his heart?
Mhm.
That's very real.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, yeah, where your emotion meets the artist's intent is where meaning is formed, and like his emotion is turmoil. Now, his emotion is a little accusatory,
Just a little, a skosh.
just a little like I haven't done anything wrong. You're being mean to me, but
Mm-hmm.
I also my favorite part about this scene, and we didn't clip it, but it's when Cory first walks in and
Oh
he's
yeah,
like
yeah.
looking all around amazed, and like he's never been to an art exhibit before. And it's a good thing that there hasn't been a episode this very season where he goes to art museums consistently and participates in the act of interpretation in them. It's great that that doesn't exist.
Yeah, like why hasn't he planned to go to this one with this display with Alan, you know?
Well, because he's never been before, because he doesn't interpret art. That's something Topanga does.
We like to walk
Not
around
him.
and see what we can, if we can guess what the artist was saying.
But Brett,
Um,
you have to understand that that's only things that are always there. He's already gone there with Topanga, so she's told him what it means, and
there you go.
That's
Yeah, he
why
only goes.
he can impress Alan.
Yeah, guys? It's just a good thing that that isn't a thing that we've established this season, and we can move on.
Clearly, continuity doesn't matter in 1998. It's all about the joke. So let's go to the date. Topanga and her
Don't you mean the most
revisionist history.
romantic date this show has ever had?
Clearly, she looked up and looked right into Ricky's steely eyes. And she tells him her revisionist history of how she stayed behind and told her parents at the last minute when they moved to Pittsburgh that she wasn't going to go with them, and they let her stay behind. No, she didn't run away after a couple of weeks away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe that happened in the same world where Cory's never been to an art museum before.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some serious, like, how this one's a big glaring error for me, because how could Michael Jacobs allow that dialogue to survive?
So this
Like,
is
you've
going to be
got
controversial, Brett, but he doesn't care.
I know, but you've got the perfect opportunity for Topanga to share on screen. I ran away from home to come back here.
It's
In
a better
moment
story.
where she's telling this story about how she's been in love, and she ran away from home for love, and like, no, I just told my parents I'm staying here and living with my aunt. Like,
Yeah, it's such a better story if she ran away and fought for her love, but
It was a great story. We watched it.
but she didn't tell the guy that. She's just like, oh yeah, you got to live in Paris for a year because you're a rich d bag, and I told my parents I'm staying in Philadelphia when they moved to Pittsburgh. It's the same.
totally the same. Yeah.
Well, Pittsburgh isn't as cultured as Philadelphia is.
Not nearly.
No,
Probably.
not nearly. So Ricky echoes some of those same words that Cory does about how meeting someone who inspires you and talking for hours just doesn't happen for no reason, and then leans in for a kiss, and Topanga doesn't stop the kiss, and we have mirror images of exactly what Cory did with Angela, with Lauren.
Mhm.
Boy, that'd be
But
more
this is
awkward.
really sped up, though. Like with Corey's situation, at least, it felt like it was a genuine attraction, genuine conversations, and a slow build up to this intense emotion. Where this just feels like cute guy flirted with me, I said yes, and regretted it immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very compressed. We do have about what, a minute and a half, 3 minutes of on-screen time with these two, whereas we had a lot of time with Cory and Lauren.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And apparently, he was drawing a picture for most of their dinner.
yeah,
What?
like he's uber talented, really, Chance. I mean, he's been drawing and looking at her the whole time, and yeah, I'm
He's
thinking he
been
had that drawn mostly before they got to the date, and he just subtly flipped the page and has really just been touching up here and there.
just a little.
Oh my
Well,
gosh, he's simply Dusty from Just Friends.
Oh,
He just
yeah.
needs a guitar and to play her a song that he wrote specifically for her.
I really need to know, like, because I know, like, my instant reaction is just like, oh my gosh, like, go away, die in a fire. But like, if someone were to tell you that my parents are letting me move to Paris story, what would your honest to goodness thought be?
I think that person was bragging, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, that's nice. How can I get out of this situation?
Yeah, exactly. Like, go away.
Well, no one's ever talked to me with money before, so I had no idea how I would respond.
but right, that story's all about money. Like, I don't care about art, I don't care about freedom, I don't care about, like, I have the coolest parents. All you've just told me is, yeah, I'm really wealthy.
Mhm.
I
Well,
bought a beret and grew some
I will
hair on my
say,
chin.
so Brett's two oldest, they have big dreams of what they want to do in the future, and
Mhm.
part of that is moving abroad. Um,
Sure.
but that's more than just I said I'm moving here, so I am. They have a goal, they have a vision, they are going to work hard to get to that. It
Yes.
might take them more time than they realize, but that's more than just saying I am going to move to country because that's where I want to be.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's more than saying, I'm going to go to Paris and paint for a year.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. My oldest once for 6, 7 years has wanted to move to Japan to be a manga artist, and
I love that.
has been learning, has been drawing, has been practicing, is going to be going, has been accepted to the Columbus College of Art and Design. We'll be starting there in the fall, and we'll be
Oh,
planning to go to Japan after graduation. And my middle child wants to go into engineering in some way, and really would love to work with Lego, and is looking at Denmark with some sort of internship with them.
that's so much different than I'm going to take a year off and go draw in Paris.
Exactly. In my beret with my hair on my chin.
uh, I'm not gonna lie to you. I recently, my family for a trip got a passport, and I was like, "This is really random." I was watching Mamma Mia, and I'd never seen it before, and I was like, "This is the most beautiful location I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, what is this place?"
Mm-hmm.
And I googled it, and when you Google it, you get like flight information sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
like this, and I was like, $450? I'm moving there. It'd be half as cheap if I did not do round trip. I can move there for $450.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
I dreamed the dream of
get-
moving home.
What?
I said I dreamed the dream of moving home. I actually lived in Pittsburgh, and then my wife and I were like, "Let's just go home." So we did.
Oh, okay. I've lived too many places to have that spot, but right
That's
now
fair.
it's the island that they live on in Mamma Mia.
It is a good movie.
I didn't really get to see the whole movie because I was working and it was just kind of on. But that location, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
that is the most gorgeous location I've ever seen in my life.
So
Yes.
let's get to the next day. Shawn is in disbelief and is very frustrated with Angela because she told Topanga to go on this date.
Mhm.
And, he's letting her see his crazy side a little bit. We get this whole,
A little
are
neurotic.
they broken up or are they on a break discussion? They're Ross and Rachel. Shawn and Angela are actually very cute here. I mean, there's no two ways about it. They're actually very cute here. If I go out on a date tonight, it doesn't mean I love you any less. If we're not broken up, if you go out on a date tonight, you're going to be plenty broken in the morning.
Yeah.
It's perfect high school cuteness.
Well, and this scene, like by itself, is more communication, more nuance, more realness than we have ever seen from Cory and Topanga in the history of the show.
I like it. I like it a lot.
They once talked to each other in Disney World.
Yes. And apparently Topanga waited overnight, the whole night, to tell Angela this amazing news. Did not call her the night before, right? Immediately after the date. Sat on it.
This show doesn't believe in that, Brett.
Well, but not only that, she gives the news to her in front of Shawn, and she doesn't give her the complete news. She gives her like a teaser.
This kiss meant more to me than any other kiss in my life.
She does this the worst, most hurtful way one can possibly do it.
Yep. Like, really? Topanga? That's the way you choose to do that? This show would not pass the Bechdel test.
Oh, no.
What?
This episode would fail the Bechdel test.
Is there an episode that passes the Bechdel test? Is an interesting question.
That is. I'm going to have to pay more attention. I don't think we've gotten to one yet, but I'm going to have to pay more attention. I have pointed out a couple that have definitely not, but then we get Mr. Feeney with his psych. Ooh, you got one in mind?
The whole storyline where Amy and Morgan is trading like really expensive things for really cheap things, and they came up with a trick to switch it back.
Oh,
that passes
okay.
the test.
That would pass.
The one instance. Sorry, go on.
There you go. I got it. So Mr. Feeney with his Shakespeare psych. I like that. And Shawn sharing his passage about how it's not important, or how it's important to remember not to kill the messenger. I like that setup because we get the third clip that I have for the episode.
Okay, messenger, deliver. Cor, what I'm about to tell you is gonna make you want to kill me. I'm not gonna kill you, Shawn. It takes too much time to break in a new best friend.
Topanga went out with another guy last night. I'm sorry.
We're the only two guys in the world who still think there's hope for me and Topanga. You're throwing in the towel?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Thank you.
You okay?
Yeah, sure. It's an interesting feeling, though.
What, to know it's over?
To be the only guy in the world who knows it's not.
Acceptance.
Yep, the acceptance. This one scene is probably the one moment in this episode that is burned in my brain more than any other scene in the episode.
Mhm.
Just that moment of acceptance from Shawn, and that moment of defiance from Cory.
Mhm.
That he's, as in the words of Frankie Stacchino, I walk alone in this world, except for the cheese in my pocket.
Oh man, if we only had Frankie giving us poetry for these episodes.
I miss Frankie in season 5. So we get a time or a location jump with Topanga and Angela, and initially Topanga's talking about Cory, but Angela thinks it's about Ricky, but very quickly catches on that it's all about Topanga. This is not high school. I love you too. I am in love with Cory Matthews. And kind of cheesy, but I'm encouraged that she is drawing that there's a clear delineation between high school love and a deeper love.
Mhm.
That Topanga is able to understand that there is a difference between just what we would used to call puppy love and actual, commitment, real love.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. I just think this would do so well to tell us one thing you love about her.
Mhm.
Like love about him. Like give me something then like we've always been together. Like that's kind of my big struggle with this episode more than anything is like what do you love about each other? Like what spurs this commitment?
Mhm.
Like is it just nostalgia? Is nostalgia the driving factor of this relationship?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we've always been together. Ricky's great, but he's not Cory. You know, he clearly does not answer her challenge with Starry Night.
Mhm.
So what is it about Cory that kiss made her realize that
Mhm.
were Ricky's lips chapped? I mean,
Just love that Corey always uses the cherry the chapstick.
Cory and his cherry chapstick. She can't handle it. Can't do without it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it really is missing that. We've heard Cory talk about the things he loves about Topanga and heard him describe those things, but when was the last time we heard Topanga describe anything about Cory?
I don't know. It's it's also so weird to me that it comes down to like feeling in a kiss. And I know like I've harped on continuity. Like wasn't it Topanga explaining to Corey after they broke up in season 3 like sometimes you're young and you just kiss people. I don't know.
Hmm.
And
Could be.
it's just so
I
weird to me.
for the first time, I'll give you credit in raining down this parade chance because it does bother me some that Topanga always wants to prove herself to be the best, and to describe
Mhm.
anyone in a positive light can feel like a lowering herself. It's kind of the vibe that it tends to get off for some odd reason. Um, but I will say again, this is part of the problem of we'll just call it the Michael Jacob isms. Everything's about going off to college. Everything's about going off to college. You want to get ready, so you go off to college. Everyone should go to college. And love, chase after love. Love is the most important thing ever. Love is the thing you need the most. Without love, sex means nothing. Nick cut, sorry, and all that jazz. Like it's just, uh,
But
it's these little small
let's not
things.
define love.
Right. We really don't define it. I mean, it would make more sense if she were to say something like, throughout this whole thing, as much as I don't want to be with him, all I want to do is be with him. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like myself when I'm with him. I've not felt like myself. That would make sense because she's not been herself since they've broken up.
Yeah, that would
Right.
not necessarily be healthy, but it would at least be something.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and she can even say, didn't realize how I felt, and I took advantage of this time we had together, and I didn't value him as much as I should have. Because she
Mhm.
didn't. We've seen this whole season where both of them do not acknowledge each other as their significant other in a way that lifts each other up. Like
Right.
I'm in the firm belief that if you're in a relationship, especially a serious relationship going towards like a marriage, when you are with other people, it's like you're in another country. You are making sure everyone knows how wonderful your person is, how funny they are, how adorable they are, how much you desire them, and you don't say one bad word because you don't want anyone to ever, want to revolt against, your person. So
Yeah.
yeah, that does bother me. So
And I think,
thanks.
but I think you're cutting to the quick of it. I really do. I don't think there is a satisfying answer. Like,
Fair.
I don't think there is an answer that Michael Jacobs or any other writer could give that wouldn't sound like, oh, you need therapy, you have Stockholm syndrome, or like you need therapy. This is like, because like you were saying, like I'm just not myself when I'm not with him. Well, you need therapy and discover who you are, and then maybe you guys can be together. So I think we kind of have to keep it nebulous. Unfortunately, it makes it very unsatisfying, especially in our modern like therapy world where everyone is in therapy. Um, but really, like back then, I don't think they could have written a satisfying reason why Topanga loves Cory.
Yeah, that's fair. Why did it take Ross and Rachel so long to get together?
Because they were on a break.
Because they were on a break. Because she had to date her secretary.
She needed to find herself.
Yeah, she needed to find herself.
Anyway, so we get this great news, and then we're going to go back to the jungle gym, not the monkey bars. And this whole talking, Topanga and Cory, they're on the jungle gym. The whole talking past each other at the beginning of their conversation. It's
mean not
tired.
communicating?
It's played out. Again, a perfect microcosm of their whole we don't communicate. But
Yeah.
as they fall into the real conversation at the end, I like that. And hopefully that is as we sit in this moment, that is a sign of something better to expect for them in their relationship. That as they fall into that is well done. I wonder if that's time for the promise rings to come back, Tyler. Yes, because Chance, we wondered after after very Topanga Christmas when they gave each other promise rings, we never saw them again.
No. No.
Where'd they go? Why don't they keep
Yeah.
them on them?
Yeah.
What have they promised each other? We don't know.
Yeah. We promise we're going to be together until we promise that we're going to get engaged, and then we'll get married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason those aren't in fashion anymore.
Yeah.
Brett, do you have some of this clipped or what?
No, I told you I have 3, and that was it. I already showed my 3.
Oh, that's so sad.
I
Okay, but can
gotta
we
keep
agree?
My clips, I got to keep my clips to a
Can-
minute or less.
okay,
This is longer than a minute.
And Chance, I need your heart to go 3 sizes at this moment too, because as much as they're not communicating, they do eventually lock eyes and go, "Oh, we're here. It's just you and I, and let's be together. Like, let's just agree we're together. We're gonna work through this. This is an important moment. It's a magical moment, and darn it, they're back together. And can't we just be happy?"
Oh. Huh.
I think Tyler would settle for a growing one size.
I liked Lauren. Maybe we should have seen where that went for a little while. I don't know.
I was Team Lauren growing up, and I've long been Team Lauren. There's one thing that I realized about Team Lauren, and it's on their date when they're describing everything, when they're talking about everything. They have absolutely zero in common for their futures.
That's true.
Cory is completely indoors. Lauren is completely outdoors. And they're going to have to do a butt ton of compromising to make it work.
Yeah. Although that is fairly similar to my wife and I.
No, I mean,
I'm an indoors nerd and she's a hiker.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't work, but judging by the way Cory has functioned through 5 seasons, I don't see it working long term.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I was always Team Lauren. I always wanted to see at least where it could go.
Mm-hmm. I remember the moment when they got back together when I was a kid. I do remember it being a big deal. I'll give you at least that much. watching it week to week, the way it was meant to be watched, where it was like almost 9 months ago, probably, that he went to an art museum with his dad. I do think that matters, and it like the problems were less in your face. And Cameron and I talked about this all the time, especially once we got towards these later seasons. The show was never meant to be watched this way.
No, they never meant it.
Like, it was never meant to stand up to criticism. It was like, hey, are you and your family on a couch? Are you having a good time? Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and if this show is being made today, I feel like you would have had like a scene with Eric walking by, like at the monkey bars, like he's being like, "You waiting here again?" Yeah. What if she doesn't show up? Well, hopefully she will. If not, I'll still be here. Like, okay, well, good luck, buddy. Like, those are the little things that we don't get right now because this is a show from the 90s.
Yeah.
Would a kindly Amish gentleman offer to take him to that house over there?
Over there. Yes.
Yeah. I think one of the problems watching the show this way is the man, this show is a cartoon and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And like then we get to episodes like this where I'm supposed to take like all of this seriously, but it was a cartoon. Like last episode where they met themselves.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It is a hard thing to do.
And that factors into the grading too, because we are looking at it almost 30 years later, where in a way that it wasn't intended to be looked at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm still harsh on it when it needs to be harsh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, they're back together. Yay!
They're back together.
Yay! And so there is one thing I want to point out. They say they're starting over. No, they're picking up where they left off, because Cory wanted to start over after he told Topanga that he and Lauren talked all night before she found out they kissed. No, they're not starting over. They're picking up where they left off. And then we have this cute tag with Shawn and Angela looking at art in the museum. And how does this make you feel? Ooh, I'm going to throw you up against the wall and kiss you. How does this make you feel? I'm going to kiss you. How's Starry Night make you feel? And they just kind of stand there and hug. Cute.
Yeah, it is cute. And it's probably the most realistic teenager thing that there is just like, how does this make you feel? Like making out.
Yeah.
Well,
totally.
Brett and I have had several conversations about the whole, what is a date for Shawn Hunter? And essentially, as long as Shawn Hunter makes out with a girl, he considers that a date. So,
yeah, that's how you can have
he's
a
taking
dozen
his girlfriend
dates
to a
in one
place
weekend.
for them to make out.
But
very
also,
much date.
Because of this season, Shawn's deep now, so he has to be moved by at least one piece.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
And I'm a fan of Deep Shawn. I love Deep Shawn.
Oh,
but he does.
Deep Shawn is my favorite Shawn. Ornery Shawn is my second favorite Shawn.
Yeah.
Guys, I blew up a mailbox again. All right. Well, that is our episode of Boy Meets World. Tyler, do you have any deep dives for us this week?
I have a couple.
People. Am I the only one who read the summer reading list?
All right, so we've talked ad nauseum about Starry Night, so let's talk about it some more. Starry Night is an oil-on-canvas painting by Dutch post-impressionist painter Vincent van Gogh, painted in June 1889. It depicts the view of the east-facing window of his asylum room at Saint Remy de Provence, just before sunrise, with the addition of the imaginary village. It's been in the permanent collection of the Museum of Modern Arts in New York City since 1941, acquired through Lily B. Bliss bequest, widely regarded as Van Gogh's magnum opus. Starry Night is one of the most recognizable paintings in Western art. Oh, wow. Yeah. Dimensions are 29 inches by 36 inches. That is small.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there is a Vincent van Gogh experience that you can go and see a bunch of his artwork. It is literally on tour, going all across the United States and also other places as well, like other countries as well. Right now it's in Richmond, Virginia. Come on, show me tickets. Get tickets. I'm hitting the button.
You got to wait all night to be first online for them.
Yeah.
My wife has been. Do you want me to go ask her how it was?
Do so.
All right, I've got the report. You want to hear it?
Yes.
Yes, please do.
She was telling me that the experience, she was pretty cool, but it was pretty expensive. You go in and they're like all four walls are LCD screens and the ceiling is, and it's a 30-minute looping presentation of like his art, and it like she said it like dances across the screen and pieces merge and like little factoids come up about it, and it's happening like all around you, so you're like in his art, and then you go through another door and it's like a biography room about his life. She said there's a big thing about his mental health struggles that he was going through and like a timeline of that, and like really just by being a biography of his life, and then they send you out through a gift shop.
Exit through the gift shop, of course.
You gotta have a gift shop.
That's the Vincent van Gogh experience. He was here like 6 months ago, I want to say.
Nice. I was gonna say because so adult prices are like $39.90 for a child. It's about $23.90. Senior citizens $33.90. VIP adult is $59.9. VIP
Yeah,
children.
it was pretty expensive.
Yeah,
I wanted to go, but my wife's mom bought the tickets for the two of them. So
hey, group bundle $35.90. If we make a big giant Boy Meets World fan podcasters all go together.
Let's go see this exhibit all about one episode of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I keep thinking that a lot of us need to make a pilgrimage to Philadelphia, where they absolutely filmed this show. And
Totally. We'll go to Cedar Heights.
do one giant podcast.
I think there's got to be something. We got to throw a con or something.
Yeah. Okay. So they were mentioning about feeding birds. So let's talk about 9 foods you should never feed birds.
Oh.
First and foremost, bread. Apparently, it's not the worst thing, but it's not great for them either. especially if it's moldy. It can be dangerous. Raw meat. Seeds and nuts sold for people.
Okay.
Bacon fat. Potato
Oh.
chips. Honey. Red food coloring. Every time I go to the pond, I think, man, where's my red food coloring?
Where's my red Skittles?
Old bird seed. Interesting. Pet food, like dog, cat food. Yeah.
Who
Apparently
feeds
from
birds raw meat?
I don't know. This is from birdsandblooms.com.
Wait, was rice not even on there?
It did not mention rice.
Isn't that the whole thing? Like,
You don't
they
feed
stopped
pigeons
throwing rice at weddings?
uncooked rice.
Yeah, because doesn't it like make birds blow up or something?
Well,
That's what I
apparently it
always heard,
absorbs
but
the moisture in their stomach and expands. So,
Yeah,
yeah, that's why
that's
you
what I've
don't
always
throw
heard.
rice at weddings anymore.
yeah. All right. One thing I do want to talk about is there's what's called Art of the Bricks. My son, we were visiting my in-laws, and they went to this thing. It's basically like Lego art, using like world famous art as their what's it called? As like their muse essentially. So there's stuff from Vincent van Gogh, Mona Lisa. There is an actual depiction of the Starry Night. So apparently it's a really good experience, and there's a bunch of really cool stuff in there. I wasn't invited to this because I was sleeping at the time. But yeah, I was told it's really good. It's really enjoyable. So if art of the block is in your area, it's a high recommendation from a 7-year-old.
Love it.
All right.
Yeah.
There
also
is a Starry
travels,
Night Lego set as well.
Yeah. Yeah. There, I've seen some.
I-
Some of them are really cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty here. So let's have a fun little moment, gentlemen. Let's throw out there. What are some couples from TV shows outside of Cory and Topanga? You can't use that. Who maybe shouldn't have been together? And I have from CBR.com. The top 10 couples should not have gotten back together. Apparently.
I'm going to
So
bust
Brett,
in
throw me one.
Ross and Rachel.
Ross and Rachel. Yep, Ross and Rachel, number 4.
Wait,
Jay?
so I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Is it all TV or is it just sitcom? This is
Yeah, all
important.
TV.
Clark and Lana should never have gotten back together in Smallville.
Agreed.
Clark and Lana. Well, I would also agree with that, but that is not listed. A lot of these are more on the realm of sitcom-y things,
Fair.
but I don't disagree with that. I never thought they should get together in the first place.
Their relationship just should have ended in season 3, but that's a different podcast.
Yeah. I don't
Brett, you want to throw
necessarily
another one?
I don't necessarily agree with it, but I'm wondering if JD and Elliot from Scrubs is on the list.
That was mine.
They are not, but if there was an honorable mention, I would say that would be a good one.
Oh, Robin and Ted from the How I Met Your Mother.
Robin and Ted, number
yes.
2.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh man.
Man, if the show had gone like 3 or 4 seasons, it's perfect. But where we were at in 9 seasons later, it was terrible.
If a last episode needed to be a clip show more than this show, this is the one.
Yes. Sorry. Anyway, I just thought about that one. It made me mad.
All right, Brett, give me one more guess.
One more guess. I don't know. Let's go same show. Is Barney and Robin on there?
Barney and Robin are not on here. No.
What are on Community? Is there a Community couple on there?
There is not a Community one. No.
Sad. Okay, I don't know.
Who are you thinking from Community?
I have not seen it in a very long time. The Jeff and
Britta?
Britta.
No, they never officially get to. Well, I mean, they don't officially date, but then they don't get together at the end, so that's why they wouldn't be included. But they probably would
Yeah, I
not be a
guess
good
so.
couple on here.
Well, who
I
else
guess they
is?
have a more complicated relationship.
All right, Janice, give me one more guess.
Laura and Urkel.
Laura and Urkel. No, they're Endgame. They can't be on this list. All right, so here's what we got. I will say there were plenty of other websites I could have gone to, but a lot of them were those ones where they're slideshows. So you have to keep clicking through them so they can get more clickbait. So, first one, number 10, is apparently Dina and Garrett from Superstore.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
can
know.
see that.
Chuck and Blair from Gossip Girl.
Never watched it.
I watched the first episode of that once.
Blaine and Kurt from Glee.
Gosh, I don't know any of these.
Only watched like the first episode.
Well, you've watched enough. You'll both know this one. Ryan and Kelly from
Oh, The Office.
The Office,
yeah,
champ.
how did I not throw that one out there?
We have Haley and Dylan from Modern Family. I disagree. I think they worked out pretty well in the end.
Sure. Yeah.
Damon and Lena from Vampire Diaries.
Never watched it.
That's when I saw the first few episodes of as well, but I've not. I didn't keep up with it.
Then you mentioned Ross and Rachel, number 4. Mindy and Danny from The Mindy Project.
My wife loves that. I've never seen it.
Never seen it.
My wife might have fighting words over that one. Ted and Robin, you guys had that one. And then apparently the last one on this list is Arya and Ezra from Pretty Little Liars.
Never seen an episode.
Wait, no. I do. I've seen the first episode of that, and I believe that's a girl, a sophomore in high school, and her teacher.
That
Well,
would
then
be
they
a
never
good
should have
reason
gotten
for them
together
not
in the
to be
first
together,
place. Much less
There
gotten
were
back
3
together.
of those I've seen the first episode of, and never another.
Yeah. Those are our deep dives.
All right. Well, then let's talk about.
You know anything about the Odyssey? Huh? Did I say you could talk?
I didn't teach you that.
My friend Mr. Matthews will lead the discussion.
Do I have to draw you a picture?
What we learned. Tyler, what did you learn?
Gosh, I always love when you go to me after I go through and do all the deep dives, because then I'm like, well, that's fine.
All right. Well,
it's
I'll
fine,
talk
Brett.
about-
I'll talk, Brett. I'll talk. I got no problem talking. That's what we're here to do.
It's a podcast, man.
I just want to reemphasize something that Cory said in the midst of their argument. So, Topanga's trying to talk about, the art that's in front of them is a masterpiece. And I just want to quote Cory. He says, "You're a masterpiece." I don't like this part as much. I don't care what you think right now. I do care what you think right now. But we're going to be together forever. I know that you still need to find it out, and you know where I'll be. I love the first part about "you're a masterpiece," and it's just a reinforcement of how you are viewing your partner and what they mean to you, and do you see them in a light that is biased? My wife and I end up having discussions quite often, and she'll go, "I need you to have an unbiased opinion right now." And I'll be like, "But I'll always be biased." And it kind of goes back to, there's a video I watched a little while ago where a podcasting couple, the woman's trying to be like, "I understand that I'm not the most beautiful woman on the planet for you, yada, yada. There's other beautiful women." He goes, "What are you talking about? You are the most beautiful woman on the whole planet." She goes, "Do you actually think that?" And he's like, "Yes." It's just that reinforcement, I guess, of how do you see your person?
Chance, what did you learn?
Besides, never date a guy who ignores your friend entirely when she's talking to him. Oh, I mean, it's a good question. I would say, I think it is okay to say that sometimes a kiss is just a kiss. Um, and now there's a lot of baggage that goes with that. There's a lot of ifs and whats and stuff, but like, you can play a role in a theater production. You can context is everything. And for Topanga, the context wasn't her whole life, so it wasn't. I don't know what she was used to, what she was looking for. But sometimes a kiss is just a kiss. That doesn't give you an excuse to go out and be unfaithful or unloyal to somebody. But it does mean that, always check for the context of what something happened, how it happened, things of that nature, before passing judgment.
All right. And I'm going to go with, don't put your significant other through trivial tests. Don't reduce your relationship to a singular test unless it's a test of honesty or fidelity. That you can do. I mean, fidelity is a big thing. But don't just boil it down to, what do you see in this painting, or what do you do with this? That's just wrong.
The main thing not to learn from this episode, art has the main thing not to learn is art only has one meaning, and it's very strict. And
art can be subjective. There, the good-looking people. So,
I'm right?
No, you're exactly right.
So am I done with my education? Can I go?
Time to grade this puppy. Well, Chance, you are our special guest. So, how do you grade Starry Night?
You give
standard A through F grades. You can do pluses, minuses if you want.
Okay. It's a C minus, guys. It is. It's important. It's iconic, but it has no internal consistency. The characters aren't likable. It would be a D if it wasn't for Angela being hilarious. And we didn't even talk about that as much as we should have. Yeah, I got nothing for this episode. I watched it and was like, oh yeah, I hate Ricky. Oh yeah. So C minus for Angela and the iconicness. That's what keeps it from being a D or an F.
Mm-hmm. Tyler, what do you got?
I would line more in the realm of a B plus. My main reasoning for that is because one of our biggest complaints has been, and there Topanga is just in the episode. Topanga's there for a moment. She's there. They're dating. That's it. And this is one of the few episodes where Topanga is essentially the main character, and she is driving the story. It's her complication into what this relationship is. And I do agree. They do not give her the time and space to actually explain herself and make things more clear. But again, they are still in high school. They are still trying to figure out these very complicated feelings. And as much as she is intelligent, as much as she can understand art, she's not always the best of understanding her own emotions and the things that drive her. Really.
All right. I'm going right down the middle with a C. It's it's important to the arc, but they missed a lot of swings on it. I mean, we're talking 2 strikes and 3 balls here, if we're using a baseball metaphor, and those are not monkey bars. But yeah, I mean, just like you said, Tyler, Topanga's the main character here, and honestly, I think they really did her a disservice with a lot of this. And we talked about how we've got some great opportunities here for Topanga to show why she loves Cory, and we get jack squat. And so in an episode that's supposed to show them getting back together because Topanga loves Cory, I don't really feel that she overcame the same thing Cory did when I'm supposed to, and I don't really feel why she loves Cory other than I'm being told she does. So
yeah,
but Shawn and Angela, they save it.
They really do. And I really just think it's kind of lazy. Like, just being honest, like, in your own little arc, you had a reason over here that you stated several times that, like, was the problem. And then you threw it out entirely. Like, you made it explicitly about what she explicitly said it wasn't about.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Watch your own show.
Yeah.
Like, watch your own show.
Well, but again, that's the problem with, I would say, Michael Jacobs and his writing of his shows. It's the jokes are the most important thing. The continuity is not the problem. And
Sure.
Nowadays we need continuity, and without continuity, the show falls apart.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I really do. I'm just saying, like, you planned this to be an arc. Like, you put a breakup episode. You planned every episode in between deals with the breakup, deals with the different aspect of the breakup. Like, you planned this. So why is the thing she already forgave him for the issue that she needs to overcome here? I agree with you. Continuity isn't important, but you made it important when you wrote this.
Well, he doesn't do any better 15 years later.
I haven't seen a Michael Jacobs show in a while.
In fact, I think it's worse.
I bet that's true.
Well, before we get out of here, I got a couple of dad jokes for you.
Do it.
Perfect.
All right. So I hate it when I'm singing a song and the artist gets the words wrong.
I get it.
It took me a second.
It's a thinker. And one more before we hit the road. Did you know that 85% of Americans don't know how to do basic math? Thank God I'm part of the other 25%.
Yes. That's all I got.
Yeah. So, good looking people. Want to thank you once again for joining us. And Chance, thanks for hopping on board. Now, with those remaining few episodes coming out for your podcast, want to tell the good looking people where they can find you?
Sure. If you were interested in Boy Meets World, Boy Meets World Fever, we've got 3 episodes coming out, the best episodes of the series, the worst episode of the series, and an ultimate culmination of the timeline. We're not giving ourselves any solid dates on those because we want them to really be special. Cameron and I have also started a new podcast called Comics Palooza, all about comic books that are coming out weekly and what you should and shouldn't be reading.
Oh, nice. Nice. Well, check those out, good-looking people, and you can send us messages over our socials at dadsmeetworld across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter/X, on YouTube if you're not already watching us there. And you can send us an email at dadsmeetworld@gmail.com. And hey, if you want some nice Dads Meet World swag, dadsmeetworld@threadless.com. So until next time, good looking, I'll see ya.
Back to you, good looking. Say bye, kitty.
You know, how can I learn so much every week and still be so stupid? Topanga. I want to be normal, Spud.
Read the Bible.
We are the Timmers.
This is good TV.
Dads Meet World is a production of Headfirst Studios. Headfirst Studios. tell your story.